I'm pregnant with triplets. She said it with this dazzling smile, eyes wide, voice trembling with excitement. For a second I just stared at her. My mind froze. Triplets. My throat tightened, but I managed a small laugh. That's amazing, I said. And it should have been. It should have felt like the happiest moment of my life. But instead something cold and heavy slid down my spine. Sophie threw her arms around me, almost knocking me back onto the couch. Can you believe it? She whispered into my ear. 3 of them, James. 3. I nodded, wrapping my arms around her, pretending to be thrilled. But behind my forced smile, my brain was screaming questions I couldn't voice. Triplets. We'd been together just over a year. We weren't even trying for 1, let alone 3. And yet here she was, glowing with joy, tears in her eyes, telling me we were about to be parents, times 3. I told her I needed a minute to take it all in. She laughed, playfully pushed my chest, and went to call her mom. As soon as she left the room, my expression dropped. Because deep down I knew something didn't add up. Sophie had been acting strange for weeks. Late nights at work meetings. New perfume. A lock code on her phone when she'd never had one before. And once, I'd caught a whiff of cologne on her jacket. Expensive, nothing like mine. She brushed it off, said a coworker gave her a hug after closing a big deal. I'd let it go. But now, with this news, the puzzle pieces started clicking together in a way I didn't want them to. When she came back into the room, she was glowing, talking a mile a minute about names, cribs, baby clothes. I just sat there nodding, pretending. Inside, something in me twisted. That night, when she fell asleep beside me, I lay awake staring at the ceiling. My chest felt tight, like I was trapped inside my own skin. I wanted to believe her. God, I wanted to. But every instinct I had screamed that something was off. The next day, I told her I wanted to come to her next doctor's appointment. She smiled too quickly. Of course, she said. It's next Wednesday at 10. But when I called the clinic she'd supposedly been visiting, they said they had no record of a Sophie Miller. That was the first crack. Over the next few days I started paying attention. She kept her phone close, deleting messages as soon as she read them. She got a new necklace, one I hadn't bought. And one night I heard her whispering on the phone in the kitchen. Her voice low and shaky. It's fine, he believes me, she said. My stomach dropped. The next morning, she kissed me on the cheek before leaving for a meeting. I watched her drive away, waited 5 minutes, then grabbed my keys and followed her. She didn't go to work. Instead, she drove across town to a hotel, a sleek, expensive one downtown. She parked, checked her reflection and went inside. 10 minutes later, a man walked in after her. Broad shoulders. Expensive suit. I recognized him immediately. Daniel. Her boss. The same man whose cologne I'd smelled weeks ago. My vision blurred. For a long time I just sat there in the car, gripping the steering wheel until my hands hurt. Then, without even realizing it, I started recording a video on my phone. Her car in the parking lot, the timestamp on the screen, everything. I stayed there for an hour. Then another. When they finally came out, the look on her face said everything. She wasn't guilty. She was comfortable. Like it was normal. Like she'd done this before. That night, I didn't confront her. Not yet. I wanted to be sure. Over the next few days, I quietly gathered proof. Screenshots from her phone backups, emails she forgot to log out of, receipts she left on the counter. The truth unfolded piece by piece, each one cutting deeper than the last. The pregnancy was real, but it wasn't mine. I found the clinic's name in one of her emails. When I called and pretended to be her husband, the nurse confirmed she was about 9 weeks along. I did the math. 9 weeks ago, Sophie and I hadn't been together. She'd been on a business trip with him. That night, she came home humming, holding takeout and smiling like nothing had changed. She kissed me, poured wine, and said she wanted to celebrate. Celebrate what? I asked. Our future, she said softly. You, me, and the babies. I nodded, forcing a smile. Yeah. About that. Her smile faltered. What do you mean? I pulled out my phone and set it on the table. The video played. Her car in the hotel parking lot, time-stamped. Then the second clip. Her and Daniel walking out. His arm around her waist. She went pale. Sophie, I said quietly. You want to tell me what this is? She stammered. It's not, James, you don't understand. I understand perfectly, I said, my voice trembling. You're pregnant. Just not with my kids. Tears filled her eyes. She tried to reach for me, but I stepped back. It wasn't supposed to happen like this, she whispered. It was one mistake. One mistake. Snap. Triplets, Sophie. That's not a mistake. That's months of lies. She broke down, sobbing, begging me to listen. Said Daniel had promised to leave his wife. Said it was over now. Said she loved me, that I was the one she wanted. I just stared at her, feeling nothing but emptiness. You looked me in the eye, I said slowly, and told me we were having a family. You let me believe that. I panicked, she said, voice breaking. I thought if I told you, you'd leave me. I laughed, bitter and hollow. You should have worried about that before sleeping with your boss. She cried harder, but I didn't care. The woman I loved, thought I loved, was gone. All that was left was this stranger standing in my living room, clutching her stomach, whispering apologies that meant nothing. I didn't yell. I didn't throw anything. I just grabbed my coat and said, You and Daniel can start planning your new life. Congratulations. And I walked out. Weeks later she tried to reach out. Texts, calls, emails. I ignored them all. Then one night she showed up at my door, eyes swollen, begging for another chance. I let her talk. Let her spill everything. Then I handed her an envelope. Inside was everything. Screenshots, receipts, messages, all sent to her company's HR department. Her face went white. You ruined me, she whispered. No, I said quietly. You ruined us. Then I closed the door. It's been 6 months. I still think about her sometimes. The way she smiled that day, the way she said triplets like it was a dream come true. But now I see it for what it was. The beginning of an ending I should have seen coming. The truth hurts, but it also frees you. And when she told me she was pregnant, I thought my life was about to start. Turns out it did, just not with her.